Hi everyone, Saskia here from Freedom on Demand. This is a short tutorial style video. I'm going to be taking you through 5 exercises which would be great to include in your exercise program if you are a runner and you are wanting to shave minutes off your running time. So these exercises are really focused around specific strength and mobility, particularly around the hips, really important in terms of your running biomechanics and your running economy. So we're going to get straight into it with a variation of a bridge. So for this bridging variation, we work on not only strengthening through the glutes and through the hamstrings, but we also work into finding reciprocal hip flexion. Really important because with every stride, you're not only coming into extension through one side, but flexion through the other. So you're going to come and have a lie down onto your back. I've just got 2 red springs, 2 heavy springs onto the carriage. For this variation of our bridge, we're going to lie with the legs up and over the foot bar. So it's in behind the backs of the knees, the lower legs are hanging down. We start with the arms resting down at the side of the body, and we're going to work to find some nice hip extension first. So we tip back through the pelvis, we peel up towards our bridge position, and then we soften and melt down onto the carriage. You're going to do a few reps there, working into the bridge, opening through the front of the hips. And then a really nice variation of this is to come into a single leg. So for that single leg, we're going to leave one leg draped over top of the foot bar. The other knee draws in towards the chest. Instead of holding that knee in towards the chest, we're going to apply pressure at the front of the thigh. And it's your goal to try and keep that drawing in sensation, work through flexion at the front of the hip. So we've got the hands on the front of the thigh. As we press up into our single leg bridge, we're resisting here, hands and thighs pressing against each other, and then we soften and melt down. We're going to do that another couple of times. Up into bridge, pulling that knee in towards the chest as the hands press up into the thigh. One more. Press and lowering back down. So that is your first exercise. The next exercise that we are coming into is a lunging thoracic rotation. So I'm going to take the springs down slightly, just go for a single red. We're going to bring ourselves into a lunge kneeling position. So starting off with left foot in front onto the headrest, right foot draping behind off the carriage. We grab hold of the strap in our left hand. So we're doing same leg forward, same arm holding the strap. Adding in a little bit of that mid-back mobility is really important. Obviously, when you're running, you need not only mobility and strength through the hips, but you also need to rotate through the trunk. So adding in rotation here, we come into a single arm row. We row the elbow back and at the same time reach that arm, opposite arm long and forward, and then come back, even get a little bit of counter rotation the other way. So we row and rotate, come back around. Thinking here about trying to remain with that front knee tracking forward, remaining nice and steady through the hips and through the pelvis as we rotate through that mid-back. And coming back. Next exercise that we are coming into is a short box roll down. So you're going to bring that box sideways on the carriage up against the shoulder blocks. For this exercise, we need access to the black strap at the end of our carriage. So you're going to add all 5 springs on, and then go ahead and grab hold of that black strap from behind the end of your reformer, hooking the feet underneath. Now, most of us can find abdominal connection when the abs are in a shortened position, like when we're coming into something like a crunch. We're going to work to find abdominal connection when the abdominals are in a lengthened position. So we're sitting up nice and tall. Genie arm can be nice here, so just crossing over at the elbows, sitting right up on top of the sit bones. We are doing a straight back, lean back position here. So we are going to tip over the sit bones, keeping the spine nice and long and straight as you come down, and then stacking back up to sit tall. We keep pressure up and into that strap. Tipping back, finding that abdominal connection, stacking back up. Now, of course, when we're running, the torso is in a lengthened position, so finding that abdominal connection while the abs are lengthened is really key. Another really important consideration is to work on landing and our ability to absorb force or impact. So we're going to do some jump board work, popping that platform out, and instead putting your jump board in place. I'm coming down to just a green and a yellow spring onto the carriage. There are loads of different variations that you can do for jump board work. I'm going to show you just a few variations lying down onto your back. So come on down. When we're doing our jump board work, what we really want to think about is absorbing the impact rather than slamming into the board. So starting with one foot onto the foot bar. So starting with one foot up onto the jump board, either leg at tabletop, you're going to just do a little bit of single leg footwork here, pressing the carriage away from the stoppers, rolling up onto the ball of the foot, and then rolling down to the heel, bending the knee and coming in. So we press out and roll up, bend the knee and come in. And then to start to come into a little bit of jumping, we simply just move with a little bit more momentum. So we jump off that board, it's a little spring, and then we absorb the jump. We roll through the foot as we land. And if we can work on our landing technique here, hopefully it will help in terms of running and injury prevention, so that we can work on loading safely through those joints. Come to the other side, do a few jumps there as well. And then a nice variation for your jump board is to add in slightly different loading through the hips, knees, ankles. So you can start with the legs in parallel, do a little bit of jumping here, and then maybe you alternate landing with the feet turned out, landing back in parallel. Feet turned out, landing back in parallel. So just changing the way that we're loading here through the lower limb. And that is your fourth exercise in your jump board. We are going to finish off with a little bit of work in scooter. So scooter is a really fantastic exercise because we want to try and find power from the hips rather than the lower back. So for scooter, we're going to set ourselves up with one foot down onto the floor, the other foot up against the shoulder block. Starting off, we're actually going to come into a slightly rounded position through the lower back. So sit the hips back and then tuck the tail slightly between the legs. So we've got a little bit of rounding, a little bit of flexion through that lumbar spine. Start with a few reps here and only allow the carriage to go back as far as you can maintain that little bit of flexion through the lumbar spine. This can be a nice connection to make because then when we start to come to flat back, you can find a little bit more range, but we want to watch that it doesn't move into extension through the lower back. So we press the carriage long, we allow ourselves to come into a nice long straight spine, and then we draw the carriage back in. Press that carriage out, draw the carriage back in. Now we're watching here that as we extend through the front of the hip, we don't start to arch through the lower back. So keep that tailbone lengthened. Work on finding power here from the hips rather than from the lower back. Nice. So those are the 5 exercises that would be great to include. We worked through some bridging, some thoracic rotation, and then a little bit of work in our short box roll down, our jump board, and then finally our scooter. Hopefully it helps. Would love to hear how you get on with those exercises and let us know in the comments. Bye.